welcome to this week's European Circle report. The floods in Pakistan are getting worse. The rainfall still has not stopped. The EU is increasing its help efforts in order to support the victims of the flood. The European Commission has invested another 30 million euros in humanitarian aid. The money will be spent on drinking water, food, shelter and medical treatment. Kristalina Georgieva, European Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Response, stated that this was only an emergency aid and not enough to rebuild the country. The EU member states add another 40 million euros on a bilateral level. During the last 12 months, the Commission has helped Pakistan with a total of 111 million euros. Ferran Tarradellas Espuni, spokesperson of the European Commission for Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Response, stated that the EU is currently dealing with the issue of handling catastrophes as serious as the one in Pakistan in a better way. Some member states approved of the idea that the EU should manage the country's emergency aid funds in order to be able to provide better and faster help in case of catastrophes. Espuni explains the Commissioner's activities.
So far, she's visited 8 capitals and discussed not only with members of the government that are responsible for that, but also with civil protection authorities on the ground, with NGOs, with experts, and she's going to come with a paper on the reinforcement of Europe's civil crisis response capacity immediately after summer.
French President Nicolas Sarkozy supports this concept. He also suggests an EU crisis force. The EU will decide about this proposal till autumn. Commissioner Georgieva said she agreed with Sarkozy on enforcing Europe's capacities to deal with catastrophes. However, it is disputed whether local crises should be solved on a local level or whether a central EU Commission mission could be helpful. The Treaty of Lisbon schedules the installment of a voluntary humanitarian aid corps by autumn 2011. It remains unclear whether voluntary helpers are qualified enough for difficult international tasks like the devastating floods in Pakistan. On August 12th, the International Year of Youth started under the theme Dialogue and Mutual Understanding. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, held an opening speech.
In a world in which different peoples and traditions are coming closer, more frequent contacts than ever before, it is crucial that young people learn how to listen intently, empathize with others, acknowledge divergent opinions, and be able to resolve conflicts.
Figures show that it is high time for a year of youth. More than 18% of the world's population are between ages 15 and 24. 87% of them live in developing countries. The International Year of Youth stresses the achievement of young people who play an active role in their community. It aims at cultivating their participation. Adolescents have to face a number of obstacles, especially in developing countries. Limited access to resources, healthcare, education, employment and economic prospects. Especially in a time when the world is facing many, often overlapping crises, it is important to partner with the youth to find sustainable solutions, states the UN. The year aims to promote the ideals of peace, respect for human rights and solidarity across generations, cultures, religions and civilizations. This has been this week's European Circle report. I hope you will be watching again next week.